Good morning, students. Today's class will be on the pancreas. Pancreas is an organ that is located in the posterior abdominal wall, in the posterior part of the stomach, and in the intestinal structure. So, since it is present in the posterior abdominal wall, we call it to be the retroperitoneal organ. So, the pancreas plays a very important role in the secretion of certain digestive juices like the pancreatic enzymes, mainly the insulin and the glucagon. So these enzymes play a very critical role in the digestion of the carbohydrates, as well as they also have a role over the digestion of the fat. So the pancreatic enzymes are responsible for the digestion of the fat as well as the carbohydrates. Coming to the location, see, the pancreas is an organ that is located in the retroperitoneal region. That is, after removal of all the intestines and the stomach, you can see the pancreas. It is a tail-shaped organ and it is located in front of the spleen and over the kidneys. It's a horizontally placed organ, but not exactly horizontal at 180 degrees. Instead, it is tilted backwards. It is tilted backwards towards the spleen, and it is at the epigastric region and in the left hypochondric regions. It is located at the level of L3 and L4. The hilum of the spleen is directed towards the tail of the pancreas, and the extent of the tail goes up till between T12 to L3. This shows that the pancreas is not a horizontally placed organ but is tilted backwards towards the spleen. Location. It is located in the posterior abdominal wall and it has four main parts: the head, the neck, the body, and the tail. The head has a small projection called as the uncinate process, while the neck and the body tail also are corresponding to the parts of the pancreas, and the body also has a small projection called as tuber omentate. So let's go into every part of the pancreas in detail. The head is a large flattened structure located within the C-shaped curvature of the second part of the duodenum. If you see, the head of the pancreas lodges inside the C-shaped duodenum, and it is located along with the presence of the superior mesenteric artery and the superior mesenteric vein. So it has three borders and three surfaces. Roughly on a cross section, the cross section of a pancreas will be triangular. If you imagine a triangle on a cross section, it will be having three borders and three surfaces. The three borders will be the superior, the right lateral, and the anterior borders. So here you are, the three borders will be the superior, right lateral, and the inferior borders. So the three borders, what are the relations to these three borders are? Superiorly, you will have the first part of the duodenum, because this is the second part. Superiorly, above this, what you get will be the first part of the duodenum and the inferior surface of the stomach. So first part of the duodenum becomes a superior relation. The right lateral surface, you have the second part of the duodenum. On the right lateral surface, this is a C-shaped curvature which corresponds to the head of the pancreas, and it relates itself to the second part of the duodenum. Inferiorly, it is related to the third part of the duodenum. So well below the C-shaped curvature, it is extending into a horizontal tube called as the third part of the duodenum. There are two surfaces, the anterior surface and the posterior surface. So this is the anterior surface, which corresponds itself to the lesser curvature and the greater curvature of the stomach, and it is also related with the transverse colon. The root of the colon also crosses the mesocolon. So the posterior surface of the pancreas corresponds itself with the IVC, left renal vein, bile duct lying in a groove, and may be found embedded in the uncinate process. So the posterior surface of the pancreas confines itself to the inferior vena cava, the left renal vein, the bile duct lying in a groove, may be found embedded along with the uncinate process. What is the posterior surface? How is it looking like? The posterior surface of the pancreas corresponds itself with a large vein that you see here. This large vein corresponds itself to the IVC. So you get the right renal vein draining from the right renal vein draining into the IVC, and you also have the left renal vein draining into the IVC. Here you get the formation of the portal vein. You find two large veins on the posterior surface of the pancreas, isn't it? So this posterior surface of the pancreas has two veins corresponding to it. One will be the IVC, which is a straight long vein, and the second will be the portal vein. The portal vein is formed by the joining of the splenic vein and the superior mesenteric vein. So here, if you find the splenic veins, if you find this splenic vein joins itself with the superior mesenteric vein, and they join together to form the portal vein. Behind the portal vein, you also get the left renal vein draining itself into the IVC. So these are the two important veins that relate itself to the posterior surface of the pancreas. Uncinate process. There is a small projection seen in the head of the pancreas called uncinate process. The uncinate process has two surfaces. One is the anterior surface and another is the posterior surface. The anterior surface corresponds itself to the superior mesenteric vessels and the posterior surface corresponds itself to the abdominal aorta. So if this is the head, you find a small projection here that is seen lower down. This area is called as the uncinate process. So till now we were talking about this head portion. Now we are talking about the small projection. Anteriorly, this small projection has the superior mesenteric artery related to it, and posteriorly it has the abdominal aorta. Coming to the posterior relation of the uncinate process. Well below the posterior relation or behind the uncinate process, what we get will be the projection extending to the portal vein and the IVC. So this is a small finger-like projection of the head that is extended over the portal vein and the IVC, and this is the posterior relation to the uncinate process. Coming to the neck. The neck is a constricted part and it connects the head and the body of the gland, which is only 2.5 centimeters in its length, that is 1 inch in its length. It's a small constricted part that connects the head of the pancreas to the body of the pancreas, and the head and the body are connected by the neck of the pancreas. What are the external features? The two surfaces, as I said, the anterior surface and the posterior surface. Anteriorly, the relations are the pylorus of the stomach. Posteriorly, it is related with the portal vein, because the posterior relation to the entire pancreas and the second part of the duodenum will be the presence of the IVC extending from on the posterior IVC and the portal vein. So IVC and portal vein will be seen not only posterior to the pancreas and second part of the duodenum, but also to the posterior surface of the liver. So posteriorly it is related with the portal vein and superior mesenteric artery. And upper border, if you see, first part of the duodenum, and the lower border you get the root of the transverse mesocolon. So upper border of the pancreas is related with the first part of the duodenum, which is seen above the pancreas, and the lower border is related with the root of the transverse mesocolon. So the relations to the pancreas is very easy. How am I telling you so confident? If this is the second part of the duodenum, this is posterior relation to the pancreas. This is the second part of the duodenum. You see a bend in the C-shaped curve. This is connecting it to the third part of the duodenum, while the first part of the duodenum is seen on the upward direction. So superiorly it will be related to the first part. Right laterally it will be related to the second part. Inferiorly it will be related to the third part. Behind the pancreas, what you can find will be the portal vein. This is the formation of the portal vein, and this is the splenic artery that is seen all along the body of the pancreas. Splenic artery travels all along the superior border of the pancreas. This is an important landmark in the specimen that when you identify it in a cadaveric specimen. So the pancreas, which you see on the superior border, also contains the splenic artery on the superior border, which is an important relation. Along with it, this green color structure that you see in the posterior surface of the pancreas is the bile duct. Body. The body is a thick and long, extends from the neck, continues as the tail, triangular on cross section, and one process called as tuberomental projects above the lesser curvature of the stomach. So since I said that the pancreas is triangular in shape, it has three borders and three surfaces. The three borders are anterior, superior and inferior. The three surfaces are anterior, posterior and inferior. These are the three borders and three surfaces. So it is easy to remember for you also. It has one anterior border, one anterior surface. It has one superior border. Instead of superior border, here on surface you have the posterior surface and inferior surface. So in the borders you get superior and inferior borders along with the anterior. So this is the triangular cross section. If we take a knife, cut the pancreas across transversely, we will be able to see these three surfaces. What are the three surfaces? Anterior surface, posterior surface and the inferior surface. What are the three borders? Superior border, anterior border and the inferior border. So these angles form the three borders and the lines form the three surfaces. So this is the anterior surface, which is related with the which is related with the pancreas. It is corresponding itself with the superior mesenteric artery. So when there is see the impressions that are produced by the structures. SMA means superior mesenteric artery. SMV means superior mesenteric vein. which is seen in front of the uncinate process of the pancreas. Then the head of the pancreas anteriorly has the transverse colon, proximal part of the transverse colon. You also have some coils of ileum covering it on the anterior surface. So this is the duodenum again, and pylorus of the stomach, antrum. This is the body of the pancreas which is related, and these are the jejunal loops that cover the entire body of the pancreas anteriorly. Along with it, on the total end of the pancreas near the tail, you get the relationship of the spleen covering it on the anterior surface. So this image is a very descriptive image to show you the impressions of these structures which are related to it anteriorly. Coming to the superior and the inferior borders, superiorly it is related to the celiac artery above the tuber omentale. So if you see, there is a projection in the head which I told you is called as the uncinate process. Similarly, on the body of the pancreas, you get a small projection on the superior border, what we call as the tuber omentale. The tuber omentale is a structure which is related with the hepatic artery and to the right and the right splenic artery, hepatic artery and the splenic artery. Inferiorly, you also have the superior mesenteric vessels, duodenojejunal flexure, coils of jejunum, left colic flexure inferiorly. While anteriorly, what you get will be the lesser sac and the stomach. Behind the pancreas, what you can get will be the aorta, and the origin of the superior mesenteric artery. So the relations with the surfaces of the body of the pancreas. Anteriorly, what you get will be the attachment of the root of the pancreas. So the pancreas gets itself related with the root of the transverse mesocolon to be its anterior relation. Posterior surface. The posterior surface consists of the two veins which I've already spoken to you about. This is the IVC and this is the portal vein, and these are the abdominal aorta. This is the spleen that is related to the tail of the pancreas. Coming to the posterior surface, this is the pancreas, and this is the two kidney, the right kidney and the left kidney. The presence of a spleen, and you also have the aorta, the vena caves and the portal vein. Inferior surface. The inferior surface is related with the what are the structures which you can see on the inferior surface? It is related with the coils of the jejunal loops covering it on the inferior side, and the superior mesenteric vein and artery is seen to be on the inferior surface of the pancreas. Coming to the tail, it continues from the body. It lies with the lienorenal ligament. The pancreas is connected with the spleen when it is closely related with the tail. See, this is the pancreas that is getting related with the spleen. This grey structure is the spleen, and in this structure you find a ligament here, right? This ligament is called as the lienorenal ligament, and you also find there is a curved structure that you find here. This is the splenocolic flexure of the transverse colon. So this is the transverse colon, and this is a splenocolic flexure, and this you get the descending colon. So the colon will form a bend there below the spleen. So these are the structures that you will be able to find near the tail. This is the exact structure which is seen on a cross section, where when I cut open the pancreas, I will be able to see an yellow colored duct like this. This duct is called as the main duct of the pancreas that drains the entire secretions of the pancreas and brings it to the second part of the duodenum. The main duct is called as the main pancreatic duct, and otherwise called as the Wirsung's duct. And you also have a small accessory pancreatic duct called as the Santorini's duct, which is also called as the accessory pancreatic duct, that drains the pancreatic secretions into the second part of the duodenum. On a cross section, you find two openings here. This is the major duodenal papillae and the minor duodenal papillae. The major duodenal papillae is a place where the bile duct opens. So all along you find a green color structure that is coming out from the liver, coming behind the pancreas, and then it is opening behind the pancreas in the second part of the duodenum. This is the major duodenal papillae, which has the opening of the bile duct, while the minor duodenal papillae gets itself opening of the pancreatic ducts. In the major duodenal papillae, you also get the major pancreatic duct joining together and opening in the major duodenal papillae. The accessory pancreatic duct opens in the minor duodenal papillae. So these are the two openings through which the pancreatic secretions and the bile from the liver gets itself excreted in the second part of the duodenum. Coming to the ducts, the passage through which the secretions are passing. This green color structure, what you find here, is the gallbladder, and the gallbladder comes out. It has a common hepatic duct, and there are two ducts. The joining of the right side, right hepatic duct, and the left hepatic duct joins together to form the common hepatic duct, which joins with the cystic duct to form the common bile duct. So here, the common bile duct opens itself into the major duodenal papillae along with the major pancreatic duct. See, this orange structure is the major pancreatic duct. The major pancreatic duct and the bile duct opens together in the major duodenal papillae, otherwise called as the ampulla of Vater. The ampulla of Vater is not new to you because we have already studied in the second part of the duodenum. So, in the second part of the duodenum, you have two openings called as the major duodenal papillae and the minor duodenal papillae. The major duodenal papillae has the duct of the common bile duct as well as the pancreatic duct opening in the major bile duct, while the small the minor duodenal papillae is a papillae that is opening for the accessory pancreatic duct that brings in the secretions of the pancreas to the second part of the duodenum for digestion. So this is the second part of the duodenum. So coming to the ducts, the major duct and the accessory duct, the main pancreatic duct or the duct of Wirsung, it begins in the tail, and from the tail towards the head it moves, and the length of and towards the entire length of the gland near its posterior surface, it joins with the hepatopancreatic ampulla. It is 8 to 10 centimeters distal to the pylorus of the stomach, and the shape of the duct is in a herringbone pattern. Herring means it is the name of a fish. You would have seen a fish bone, isn't it? How is it looking? It is a center, there is a center bone, and it is crossed by some horizontal bones. Like that, the pancreatic duct, major pancreatic duct, is also arranged in the same fashion. So we call it herringbone pattern ducts of pancreas. So what is the major blood supply that supplies the pancreas? Splenic artery, the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery, and inferior pancreaticoduodenal artery. The superior pancreaticoduodenal and inferior pancreaticoduodenal divides itself into the anterior and the posterior branches. The superior pancreaticoduodenal artery divides itself into the anterior and posterior branches, and the inferior pancreaticoduodenal divides itself into anterior and posterior branches. Other than that, there is also one artery called as the arteria pancreatica magna, which is the major artery supplying the pancreas. And the venous drainage includes the portal vein, the superior mesenteric vein, and the splenic vein. This is the image that shows you the arteries that supplying it. Hepatic artery, the branches from the celiac trunk. So that becomes the dorsal pancreatic artery. This is the splenic artery, the superior mesenteric vessels, the pancreaticoduodenal artery, superior pancreaticoduodenal artery, inferior pancreaticoduodenal artery, that is seen all along the curvature of the second part of the duodenum, enclosing the head of the pancreas. And you also find the arteries here, how it's getting anastomosed, and you can also find the major arteries, the splenic artery, the celiac trunk, and the superior mesenteric arteries are the three arteries that are going to participate in giving blood supply for the pancreas. So this is the veins. The veins will also show you the presence of the portal vein, the left gastric vein, the splenic vein are the veins that drains the pancreas. The main vein that drains it is the superior mesenteric vein, inferior mesenteric vein, portal vein, and the splenic vein. These are the four veins that mainly drains the pancreas. Coming to the nerve supply, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve supply. Sympathetic will be taken up by the thoracic segment, and the vasomotor also. Parasympathetic nerve supply will be taken up by the vagus nerve, and bilateral vagus nerve will start to give parasympathetic supply, which is responsible for the secretory functions of the pancreas. So basically it is exocrine and endocrine. Exocrine means a part of the pancreas which gives out its secretion through ducts is called as exocrinal part of pancreas. The part of pancreas which is not having duct, instead the secretion is directly mixing itself in the blood, is called endocrine. So exocrine have digestive functions and endocrine have hormonal secretions. Example, the insulin is secreted from the endocrinal part of pancreas, while the pancreatic enzymes are secreted from the exocrinal part of pancreas. So it is an organ which has both the types of secretory function. Exocrine. It is formed by the serous acini arranged in lobules, and the lobules are separated by the interlobar septa in the connective tissue. The interlobar ducts that forms the serous acini. The presence of the serous cells are pyramidal in shape with zymogen granules that secrete the secretions. And this is the histological image of the exocrine part of the pancreas, which consists of serous acini with the presence of zymogen granules, the centroacina cells, which is very clearly seen. They are the place where the serous secretion is there and the exocrine secretion is there. Functions of exocrine: it secretes a pancreatic juice rich in digestive enzymes. Zymogen granules contains the precursors, and they secrete large amount of fluid rich in bicarbonate ions. So the main purpose of pancreatic secretion is to neutralize the acidic content of the stomach. So they are rich in bicarbonate ions. All the secretions of pancreas are rich in bicarbonate ions. The pancreatic juice neutralizes the acidic kind and facilitates digestion. Coming to the endocrine pancreas, formed by islets of Langerhans, 1 to 2 million islets are seen closer to the tail of the pancreas. If you take a section from the tail of the pancreas and make a section and see, you will be able to see groups of islet cells, islets of Langerhans seen at the tail, and they are more in tail and they confine itself to the secretion of the endocrinal secretion, mainly the insulin and glucagon. The alpha cells, beta cells, delta cells and the F cells. The alpha cells and beta cells are mainly responsible for the secretions of the insulin and the glucagon. The delta cell for the secretion of the somatostatin. Coming to the delta, these are the various secretions. So the alpha cells secrete glucagon, beta cells secrete insulin, delta cells secrete somatostatin. It decreases the as well as delta cell always corresponds itself as a negative feedback mechanism. It controls the secretions of the other cells and also helps in mixing it with the bile secretion. F cells is responsible for the secretion of pancreatic polypeptides and inhibits pancreatic secretion. So F cell is again a negative feedback mechanism to control the secretion of pancreas when the food enters the duodenum from the stomach. So this is a histological image to show you these are the serous acini, these are the groups of islet cells, and these are the interlobular connective tissue septa and the blood vessels. So this is again an image to show you the islets of Langerhans in the histological diagram, and these are the interlobar ducts, the pancreatic acini. This is again the pancreatic development. The pancreas develops from the dorsal bud and the ventral bud, and the structure communicates itself with the foregut through a duct. The ventral pancreatic bud becomes the head and the uncinate process and comes to form the hepatic diverticulum. So developmentally, it develops from the two pancreatic buds, the dorsal and the ventral pancreatic buds. Differential rotation of the dorsal and the ventral pancreatic ducts, the buds will form the organ, and as the duodenum rotates to the right, it carries it to the ventral pancreatic bud, and upon reaching the final destination, the ventral pancreatic bud fuses with much larger dorsal pancreatic bud, and at this point of fusion, the main duct of ventral and dorsal pancreatic bud fuse, forming the duct of Wirsung, that is the main pancreatic duct. Thank you so much. I would also like you to give you an assignment. You have to draw the diagram of pancreas and please write an assignment on the gross appearance of the pancreas as well as the microscopic features of the pancreas along with the different types of cells. Thank you.